name's Abby and I'm 13 years old. I was diagnosed with diabetes on April the 5th, 2017.
I don't think we'll ever forget it.
Coming into the hospital and seeing her on the bed and all the nurses and that around.
We thought our world was going to fall apart.
Having diabetes makes me feel like I'm not normal than other people, and it makes me feel like everyone else can just eat, and then there's me that just has to put insulin in and then eat.
This is lifelong, never ending. There is no cure. So when you're living with diabetes, you are living your whole life with diabetes forever. That means that you're going to be doing these clinics forever.
I've been coming to this clinic for almost 3 years now.
Had diabetes for 15 years now, so the PED clinic's a free monthly connection with your doctor and other diabetics educators to help with your ongoing care. For me, what that looked like was coming in, seeing the receptionist, getting my little jar to go get my test sample in, and then heading through to the waiting room and waiting for my HbA1c, which was always a stressful and anxious activity, before going to see my doctor and portraying my inevitable problems that I've had for the last 3 months.
They have a check done of their 3-month average of their glucose, and it's called an HbA1c, and there's a lot of tension around that number, I think, for families and also for the young people when they're aware of what it is. Is it higher than last time? Has it come down? No matter how hard we try, I think that people feel they're going to be judged.
I think that's something that a lot of diabetics put on themselves, is the stress of ongoing care and wanting to be great at it. And it's just something that's hard to achieve with everyday life.
But more often than not, families need to see us in between those 3-month visits. And so that puts that clinical guise over diabetes.
Or clinic day you would dread. You would think, oh my God, I'm going to be sitting here for an hour, 2 hours before we get in to see the doctor.
We know the wait times are long. Sometimes the kids are out there with their parents and they get a bit crabby, a bit fed up, they don't want to come.
DAG Tas is an organisation formed around young people with diabetes or people who have family members who have diabetes.
Well, we came up with the name DAG Tas in one of our group meetings, just wanting to think of something that's quite catchy, but at the same time, in a more official environment, can give us a bit of recognition and respect. So DAG Tas, or Diabetes Advocacy Group, in its full name, kind of worked.
And the waiting room idea really is what led to DAG Tas forming.
It sprouted out of my own ideas coming from architecture of healthcare in general and what those environments are and who they're trying to serve as the patient or, the hospital.
It seemed as though it would be a really good idea to provide children with a means of expressing themselves, but also give them something really nice to do instead of just coming in and being weighed and how are your tests going and what have you done about this, what have you done about that. If you can provide them with something that makes it more amenable, it's got to be a major plus, I think.
For an 11-year-old or a 9-year-old to come in and not worry about their HbA1c in that waiting room period, but instead make a mould of their hand or paint a picture of how they're feeling. It's adding something else to healthcare that provides another reason to come and perhaps fosters a sense of community within the place that they're coming to as well.
So we started the art project on World Diabetes Day, and it began with hanging blue lanterns from the ceiling, blue being the colour of World Diabetes Day. So part of the project was that those lanterns would transform so that the children that came to the paediatric clinic would take possession of a lantern and transform it into something out of their imagination. And so each paediatric clinic, gradually the corridor has changed with monsters and big eyeballs, lots of different things.
To come in and see their faces, that they actually get something fun for them to do, it is really nice. And Sonia, the art teacher, she's just awesome with them. She just gives them the encouragement because they're a bit reserved to start with.
Although they call me the artist in residence, really I am the minion, and the young artists who come in are the artistic directors, and I'm just here to help them facilitate and find all their magic.
When I did my first lantern, I was like kind of thinking of like a person with like crazy hair and big eyes and a star mouth and a star nose with like a bow tie at the front of it.
The first time I came to the Nix building, on first impression it was a very adult space, but adding all this colour, it changes that balance.
When I walk in, it makes me feel excited to go and be in a long appointment.
Most paediatric waiting rooms, we do try to be child-friendly as much as possible, and we'll have some activities lying around, but it's not as interactive, obviously, as this, where we've actually got an artist in residence who can communicate and interact with the children while they're doing their art. So no, I haven't seen anything quite like this before. It just seems like clinics are a little less rushed. I don't have the patients sitting outside waiting and getting bored, but they're actually engaged in something creative and constructive.
When I go in, like, I'm more relaxed and I can listen properly.
There's this stark contrast to now when I walk down and look in the waiting room and there's laughter and there's creating and the parents. I remember coming down one day and this parent was hunched over a lantern and deeply engaged with her child, and they were discussing about what they were going to put on there. She was as invested as the child was.
It's not talking about diabetes. You know, we're talking about what are you doing and what's that, and gee, that's pretty. And I think all of us, all of my colleagues, we all have been doing that, and that's kind of nice. There's a lot of glitter on the floor at the end of the day, but that's okay.
We've been supported by the Tasmanian Health Service, by Diabetes Tasmania, by funding organisations, by the Co-Design project that was a Department of Health project. So these projects, whilst wonderful, have a lot of people behind them, and that's really important to remember.
It's been really great to have DAG Tas have an avenue to create spaces within our local hospital system, and it gives the patient a say in what is going to be their lifelong care, and in a lot of ways it enriches the healthcare system.
To be able to make healthcare more life-focused and not sickness-focused would be a really good achievement.
It's down to the fact that it's a co-design project, and I think listening to what people who use the service say is important. And we heard they don't like sitting in waiting rooms. So this is just the beginning, is what we're doing out there, and there's more to come.
She becomes the boss of the art, and we stick and glue and staple wherever she tells us to.
They like all my ideas. I just told them what to do.
That must have felt good.
Yeah.